Hello. Today I will be showcasing Initial D references in the Grand Theft Auto series. Just to note, there are many cars that have appeared in both Initial D and Grand Theft Auto, but those don't necessarily count as references, since most of the cars have popularity outside the series. Well then, let's begin. In Grand Theft Auto 4, on the ambulance, on the left side of the rear doors, there is a writing AE-86-4AG, which is a clear reference to the Toyota AE86 and its engine, the 4AGE. A similar thing appears in Grand Theft Auto 5, but here the ambulance has multiple renditions. The Mission Row San Andreas version doesn't have any interesting decals. The Los Santos Medical Center version has 4AG-86 written on its rear and its doors, again referring to the Toyota AE86 and its engine. The Los Santos Fire Department has RB26-32R written again on its rear and its doors, referring to the Nissan Skyline R32 and its engine, the RB26. These aren't necessarily referencing Initial D, since the only connection is that both of the cars were used in the series. In both Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, there is a car that is based on the Toyota Corolla Levin AE86, and it is called Karin Futo. Futo being an anagram of tofu and also the last two syllables of torifto, drift in Japanese, is a reference to Initial D, as both tofu and drifting play a big role in the series. The wheels of the car are based on the RS Watanabe wheels that are also used for the Fujiwara Tofu Shop AE86 in Initial D. These are also the default wheels for two other cars, the Vulcar Warner and the Bravado Yuga. In customization shops, these same wheels can be installed on all customizable cars, and there these wheels are called Fujiwara, which is a clear reference to the main characters of Initial D, Punta and Takumi Fujiwara. Moving on to Grand Theft Auto Online, let's start off with the Bravado Banshee 900R. Even though it's mostly based on the Dodge Viper, there are two liveries that seem to be based on Keisuke Takahashi's RX-7. They're called Yellow Flash, which bears heavier resemblance, and Black Flash, which has the exact same decals but uses black paint instead of yellow. The Karin Futo GTX is a version of the Karin Futo that has pop-up headlights and is a hatchback. It is based on the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86. Almost all the liveries are references to famous 86s, but the one called Delivery Boy is an obvious reference to Initial D. The text on the doors reads Stans Andreas in Japanese. If you're not familiar with Grand Theft Auto 5, San Andreas is a play on the name of the state the game is set in, San Andreas. The Tinka Jester RR is based on the 5th generation Toyota Supra. The JDM livery is again a reference to the Fujiwara Tofu Shop livery from Initial D. The text on the side reads Tinka in parentheses Jester in Japanese. In vehicle tuning options in the track wheel section, there are multiple wheels that have interesting names. Split Star can be a reference to the street racing team from Initial D, the Akina Speedstars, or it may simply refer to the design of the wheels themselves. Speed Boy is a reference to the Eurobeat song Speedy Speed Boy by Marco Polo, which was featured in the anime Initial D's second stage episode 5 and in video games Initial D's special stage Arcade Stage 3 and its port Street Stage. It is hard to say what the inspiration for these wheels was, since these types of 5-spoke rims are made by many companies. 90s Running is a reference to the Eurobeat song Running in the 90s by Max Coveri, which was featured in the anime Initial D episodes 4 and 9 and in video games Initial D Arcade Stage 2 and its port Special Stage. These wheels seem to be based on Nismo GT1, which were used by Koichiro Iketani on his Nissan Silvia S13 in Initial D. Even though Initial D and Grand Theft Auto come from different worlds and different genres, they've still found each other and made a connection in form of references that hopefully bring joy to all overlapping fans. Thanks for watching.